Hey, what's up, everybody? As you can see, I'm filming with the GoPro again today. It's so rainy and humid, as you can see, that so rainy and humid outside that everything keeps fogging up. So even the Canon kind of fogged up on me a little bit, but it's fine. We have this. At least you guys get to see my shining face today. And today, guess what we have in the shop? Yeah, that's right. It's another BMW. I don't know when I became the BMW man, but I have a BMW in here, and this one needs an alternator. It's my neighbor's car. I did test it. Basically, I just put a voltmeter on there, set it to 12 volts. You got your posts here. You got the positive, and you have the negative over here. The battery is actually in the trunk. I used the jumper box. I jumped it, brought it up here, and the minute I took the jumper box off of it, of course, it died. While it was running, I ended up putting the voltmeter on there. While it was running, it was only getting 10 volts with the jump pack on. Once I took the jump pack off, it shot down to 5, then the motor died. So it's definitely not charging. It's definitely not doing what it's supposed to do as far as that's concerned. There's a few little other things in here. It's got a check engine light and all that good stuff. But we're going to just see how far we can get on it. So I have to do this BMW. I'm going to try to get it done today. So it's going to be an alternator, so it shouldn't be that bad. But as you can see, the alternator's way down deep that you can't even see. So yeah, and there's a lot of stuff to remove because the engine is extremely close to the front of the vehicle. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and just start taking, some of this paneling off. I'm not 100% sure on taking this stuff off here. It just looks like rivets or something. I don't want to break nothing, so I'll probably do a little bit of a Google search to make sure I take this off without breaking anything. I know this is going to have to come off, and whenever you do a BMW alternator, I believe it has aluminum bolts on there. So when you take those bolts out, you have to replace them with new bolts because the torque spec is set. So I don't know if I have to order bolts or if I can go to the BMW dealership first thing in the morning after I drop off the lines. I'm actually just not sure about conquering that part. So yeah, so first things first, I'm just going to go and start stripping stuff down, see if I can get it down to where I can at least take the belt off, start getting this alternator out. He wants the alternator so that he can go ahead and get his core back for it. And that's where we're at with it. So, yeah, I'm going to put you guys on a time lapse as I figure this whole thing out, and I'll be back with you. I just want to apologize. I want to apologize to you guys. I forgot to hit the play button on this thing. But as you can see, I ended up having... I took out the filter housing, the air filter housing. And I took off the front little shroud, and basically it's just these little pull-up clips, and they're pretty easy to deal with. And I've loosened up these quick connects here, and then there's one here. You take those off, and this is relatively loose. I just got to take this one other little clip out, and then the fan shroud should come out, and then I can go ahead and get to the tensioner, take the tension off the belt, take the belt off, and then start taking off the alternator. So that's where I'm at. Okay, I'm back from the store, and as you can hear, it's still extremely loud in here because of all the rain hitting the roof, and this thing isn't insulated. Well, you know the whole story. Anyway, I had to run over to Sears and get me a Craftsman. Get a Craftsman 32 millimeter wrench. This thing's crazy. I mean, this thing's completely this thing's nuts. So anyway, I had to get a 32 millimeter wrench, and it's so freaking loud. Anyway, I had to get a 32 millimeter wrench so that I can, okay, never mind, so that I can I'm gonna shove this down in here on top of that little nut here. There's a nut right down in there on top of the fan. I don't know if you can see that, but what you do is you position that thing on there like so, and the idea is just to kind of whack the crap out of it so that it breaks the nut loose. So I put some stuff here to kind of protect it because I don't want nothing to get broke. So I'm gonna try that shit. So we're gonna see what happens. And I broke something. Fuck me. Alright guys, I'm definitely gotta apologize to you. The struggle was real with this thing. So I ended up getting the alternator. Let me get some light. I ended up getting the alternator out. You see, it's gone. Ended up finally getting the fan and shroud out. There's multiple videos on YouTube about it, but I'm just kind of going through the motions with it. But during the little scuffle with the fan, I ended up breaking the thermostat housing. That pretty well sucks. But it's okay. They had one at the store, so I'm gonna go get it, replace it for them. I screwed the pooch on that one. My fault. So, man, you know, this kind of stuff just happens. So, anyway, I'm gonna go to the store and pick up the thermostat housing, and he'll be back shortly with the new alternator. I can throw this thing back together, and then it'll be I can get it out of the shop, and it'll be pretty much beer o'clock at that point. So, hey, there you go. All right, guys, back again. Another day, another dollar. Just wanted to show you guys that, you know, the progress on the BMW. I know there should be progress on the Z, but there isn't. So we'll get to that as soon as possible. But anyway, yeah. So he ended up bringing me a new alternator. It's right down in here, and this is all the stuff that you got to remove. You got to take the fan off. This was especially a pain in the butt right here. You have to take the fan shroud off. You got to take off all of the air intake assembly stuff. You have to take off the fan shroud cover. And as you can see, this is what we got going on in here. That way you can access the belt. In order to release the tension on the belt, there is a tensioner right down in here. Let me see if I can focus in on that for you guys. Right down in there. Get some light. Right down there, this thing here, there's a dust cover on it, and in there is a T50 Torx bolt that you have to put on there, and then this will do the tensioning for the belt. There's going to be a dust cover on it, so you're going to have to uncover it. It's going to be very hard to find, but I ended up finding it after some Google searches. So found that, got the belt off. The alternator is now swapped out. 16mm bolt here, 16mm bolt underneath that I'm sorry, but I can't really get you a shot of it. But yeah, got a new alternator on there. Ended up plugging everything in. There's a little plug back there. This is the power wire back right there, and then there's a plug right here. That's just a quick connect. So while I was doing this, I might show the footage, and I might not. But while I was doing this, yeah, I ended up breaking the thermostat. I broke the whole housing. This is the new one, but what I broke off was this whole section right there. Broke it clean off, trying to take that piece of crap off. So yeah, that's what I ended up with. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. Sorry, the GoPro just died again, and so I'm just gonna kind of film this thing. Maybe talk through it, do some editing. Yeah, we'll see. But I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, so I hope you guys can see. But down in here is where the thermostat housing mounts to. There should be no need at all to be putting any RTV on here. The way I see it, if it came off of here and didn't have any RTV on it, then the new one should not have any RTV on it. Just make sure that when you put it on nice and straight and even, that the surface is 100% clean, and that, uh-oh, I got a chip. Oh my god, that's beat the... Alright, so I'm gonna have to change this. This is gonna come off. I'm gonna put another one on there. There's no, I can't do that. Alright guys, let's try this again. I keep getting interrupted. I apologize. Alright, so like I said before, I ended up breaking this this thermostat. Let me see if I can get you a better look here. The thermostat right here. Ended up breaking that thing on accident. Whoopsie. So I broke it. This is the new one. I ended up putting it in place. Here you'll have a little connection that goes right up here, and all these bolts are all 10mm bolts, and they get torqued down to 7 foot-pounds. I already torqued the bottom one and this one. I'm gonna go ahead and torque the other ones now. I do think 7 foot-pounds isn't a whole lot, but that's what it says, so that's what we're doing. So I got 2 bolts down here, and I got 1 bolt up there, and then this is another bolt that puts this on, and that one is like 14. That one is 14 foot-pounds. I'm sorry, not 14 foot-pounds. It is 14mm. This one is 14mm. Now, if you're doing this in Newton meters, then it's like 10 Newton meters. So that's on there, and I'm gonna torque that one also to 7 foot-pounds. So those are all torqued. This is on, and you know, after this we'll check for leaks. If it leaks, I'm gonna put like another 2 pounds of torque on there, because it does seem like that is just not enough torque. But it might be fine. I don't know. That's what it's supposed to be. So that's what I'm doing. So yeah. Alright guys, as you can tell from my surprise earlier, this thing, I don't know if you can see that, but this thing has some pretty nice little chips in it. So, oh well, didn't mean to mess that up, but I think I did that while I was I believe I did that while I was messing with uh-oh, hold on. Let me get you. Yeah, but I believe I did that while I was taking the fan off, so oopsie on me. Look, apparently it looks like it actually looks like I like spending money on somebody else's car. But I'm not upset. These things just kind of happen, so I ended up getting a brand new one. So, you know, if I mess it up, I'm gonna fix it. That's just the way it goes. So yeah, so I'm gonna finish routing this thing. finish doing what I'm supposed to do on this thing. Alright, so let's go ahead and put the belts on, and that's there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. This goes on the pulley. This goes on the water pump. The other one was kind of a bear to take off because these things do just kind of get stuck on there. But what some people do is they use a hammer and smack it. What I ended up doing, because I'm just deathly afraid of hammers now on this car because things just get broke when hammers start flying in an engine bay. I ended up just using a pry bar and taking off the old one. So with that, that's how I'm going to do these from now on. And I learned a different way of taking off this fan. Some people use the static method by just putting a 32mm wrench on it and smacking it with a hammer, and that's how I ended up in the position that I'm in now with this thing broken. So what I'm starting doing now is just slide a long screwdriver in there and hold it while I torque it with the 32mm wrench. That's how I'm going to be doing it from now on. But the good news is that we're now making progress, and that's about all one can hope for at this point. Just make progress and don't mess up anything else, huh? So that seems to be good. So I'm going to go ahead and route this belt, which I've thoroughly cleaned because I spilled coolant all over it. So make sure whenever you spill coolant on a belt that you clean up. Be back. Alright, so the belt is routed on there, as you can see. And just got to connect these up. But once it's all the way down on there, you can see that nut down there spinning. See that right there? See if I can zoom in on that. Yeah, that nut right there. You can see it spinning on the threads. And then once it catches all the way down, this fan will spin, and then you can put your long screwdriver in there on the bolts, put your 32mm on there, and crank it counterclockwise, just a little bit, not a whole lot, because you need to get that, in case you need to get the thing back off. Crank it back there counterclockwise, and then it should be on. But I think we're all pretty much done here. Just got to put the airflow, put the air intake and stuff on there, stick the battery in there, start it and run it, check for any leaks, and we'll see what happens after that. I'll be back. Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Walking Mandu. Today, after pulling a big boy move, a big He-Man move yesterday, and doing my whole 16-hour shift, doing overtime, I came right back in here and I put the alternator back on this BMW, and look, it's still freaking here. Mainly because I'm waiting on lower coolant hose, waiting on some stuff to get here for it. So yeah, I'm still waiting on parts. So as soon as the parts get here, I can put this out, and then you know, I got a confession to make. This thing, I lost a little bit of profit. Lost a little bit of profit on this thing. Kind of sucks because in doing this car, hope, you know, it's supposed to be for a little extra money. End up helping my neighbor out. It kind of just turned into a nightmare on me. You know, first thing that happened is I had trouble getting the fan off, so I ended up breaking the thermostat housing, and then after that I found out that I chipped up his water pump pulley, so I ended up having to replace that. And now I'm finding that the lower radiator hose is leaking, so I'm gonna have to replace that. And then after just to try it, I put on the alternator that he gave me. All this was just for an alternator swap, and it kind of feel kind of crappy about it. But hey, I guess that's just wrenching. So I ended up putting the second alternator on there. I ended up putting the new alternator that he bought on there, and that started making a bunch of noise and squealing and stuff. So I thought it was the belt. Turns out it was actually the alternator that was sounding like that. So I came in, I pulled a He-Man move, I did my 16 hours, and then I came back into the shop and immediately went right to putting the other alternator on, and it doesn't make any noise anymore, so that's good. So there you go. Yeah, the alternator on. Now, like I said, waiting for the belt. What's up? What's up, guys? We are back in the shop, and it's become cold again. As you can tell by the other video, I actually had on like some short sleeve stuff, but it's amazing what a difference a day will make in the weather. So yeah, it's actually become another winter wonderland today. It's freaking ridiculous. Snow. Freaking snow. A lot of it. So that's the next project right there. Not a project, but hopefully I can get it done sooner than later. And yeah, that's what we got going on. So this is we're back at the at this thing here. So yeah, let's see if we can show you guys this thing. Yeah, we got number 2 on the alternator. It does work. I probably showed you all this, but I had a mishap on the hoses. They sent me the wrong ones. I finally got the right ones, so that was a few extra days. I'm sure my I hope my neighbor won't mind. So let me go ahead and get this knocked out, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, after a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of swearing, I got these hoses out. So this is the upper one. It's not particularly bad, but I figure if I'm going to change one, I'm going to change them both because it's right there. And instead of waiting for it to leak again and having to take the fans and stuff all the way back off again, I figured I'd go ahead and change it. They weren't that expensive from AutoZone. I know everybody says use BMW parts, but I ain't doing that. I don't have the money. Anyhow, yeah. So this is the reason why this one was leaking. Some other mechanic that came around saw there was a leak and just decided to throw a bunch of RTV inside of the sensor that was right there. See if I can't get a better look. Yeah, they decided to throw a bunch of RTV in that sensor right there. And yeah, that's how that ended up that way. So I got the 2 new hoses. I'm going to go ahead and throw those on. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back together, put some coolant in it, and this thing should be ready to get out of my shop because this thing has been a slight nightmare. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get this done. I'm going to try to get the Z at least on the ground and able to roll because I have the people coming in to put in the garage door openers for, I don't know how many times I've told you that, but that's what's happening. And then when they're done, I can go ahead and bring the Jaguar in here, and then I can go ahead and do that suspension swap. And I think before that, I'm going to pull the motor and trans out of the stang here. Out of the stang, I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the motor and trans first. That way, I can have it kind of ready off to the side. He can come get his transmission. And hope if I can do that all before the guys get here on Monday, that'll be a great thing and a good start to the week. And I will actually kind of be on schedule for the things I actually am looking to do. So give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and throw these hoses back on. Sorry, there will be no time lapse on this one. I don't have the batteries. I don't feel like going out in the snow and getting more batteries. And I probably should have a battery charger in here, which that's going to be the next move. I'm going to do that. So I'll see you guys in a bit. You know, but we persevered. It's done. I started it, ran it up to temperature. All the leaks are gone. All the noises are gone. Oh, and I think I told, yeah. And so everything's good. Seems to run just fine. I went ahead and bled it. That's a little bleeder. So just so maybe you guys want to know how to bleed these things, it's a little bleeder screw right there. So you put your coolant in here, and then there's a little level that raises up. You put the ball portion of the level right with the top of the reservoir tank, and then you run it up the temperature, and then it'll start once the thermostat in here, down in there, opens up, then you can start bleeding it and get all the air out. And once it has a steady stream, instead of like a bubbly stream, if it has a steady stream of coolant, then you know it's bleeding. But you know, there's plenty of BMW forums and channels and how-tos out there. But like I said, this isn't a how-to, this is a vlog. And basically, I'm kind of just documenting my little nightmare here. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but we got through it. And you know, I had to dig in my pocket a little bit, but you know, whatever. I'll make sure that I do my jobs right. If I got to come out of my pocket, or you know, if it's got to come out of the shop, or whatever it takes, I make sure that I do the things the right way, so that all my customers are actually happy and they're driving something that I would actually drive. I don't want to, you know, put somebody in something that I wouldn't drive myself, that I haven't, you know, made sure was, you know, 100% working correctly. And you know, if it's a little trial and error to make it happen, if it takes a little longer than, you know, anticipated, then that's just the case. You know, you just do that. You just do what it takes. And in the end, you know, instead of trying to cover up your mistakes, instead of being all shady about stuff, or trying to blame it on the customer, or blame it on this, or blame it on that, instead of doing that and making all the excuses in the world, what you do is you just fix the problem, and you become a better mechanic because of it. Because that's just how things are, you know. So if you you know, some people try to beat people out of things and that kind of stuff. I don't do that. I make sure that when I do something, it's right, and I'm going to be honest with the customer. If there's something I can't do, I will stop. I will just stop immediately. I'll put everything just back how I found it, and I'll tell them you got to take it somewhere else. But there's not a whole lot that I can't do. But anyway, so that's it for guys. I'm going to go and throw this thing back together. There's no need for you to see that, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off here, and you guys have a great one. Make sure to like and subscribe, please. Wrench Trench out.